Today on Collider Sports Time, the Chiefs are upset by the Texans. And hey, their Dallas neighbors, the Dallas Cowboys, do them one better and crap the bed against the Jets. And, of course, Oklahoma, Texas, the Red Rivalry Showdown was this weekend. We're going to talk about all the NFL games, all the college football games of note, and even throw in a little Tyson Fury boxing WWE news. We talk about it all on Collider Sports Time. I'm your host, John Roca, joined as always now for the football season by Matt Nost. How are you, Matt?
Dude, he's good.
Thank you.
He's good.
Thank you.
He crushed it. But he also gave another name to the Red River Rivalry.
What did I say?
The Red Rivalry Showdown.
Oh, Red River Rivalry.
You got updated. It's 2019.
Red Rivalry Showdown. The Red River's Rivalry is what it was. And that's what they changed it to, the Red River Showdown. Look, I'm of the day of the Red River Shootout.
Red
That's
River
what I
Shootout.
love.
The shootout.
But, you know.
Yeah.
How are you, Matt?
Back in my day.
Red River
Shootout.
Red.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke. Somebody help me. Makuga, how are you?
I'm fantastic, man.
Yeah?
I can't complain.
Yeah, your boys took care of business last night.
Finally, well, barely, but
Come
yeah,
on.
we finally won a football game. It felt pretty good. The best part about the game, I'm sure we'll mention it later, but that Al Michaels, everybody, all they kept saying was, "Oh, this is a real home game for the Steelers." My buddies were sending me pictures from the game. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the game, and I honestly I took myself out of it mostly because it was so ridiculously expensive. But my family was in town, yada yada yada. But every game I've been to this season, we've lost, and I was like, I'm not going again, and I'm not seeing another friggin' loser.
Smart.
But all my friends were sending me like, look at this. Even Al Michaels was like, I think there's more Pittsburgh fans here than there are at Heinz Field because, you get a lot of visiting fans that want to come see Pittsburgh. They want to come to Heinz Field. We dominated that stadium yesterday. Just dominated. It was awesome.
You guys travel well. You always travel well. That's for damn sure. And we're going to get to that conversation in just a second because your Bears, they had a bye this week, right? So not much to worry about here.
No, but that also means an extra week's rest for Trubisky. So we'll have Trubisky back next week. So it'll be interesting.
Do you think he's like Eastwood at the beginning of Forgiven, trying to shoot the can off the fence? He just can't quite get there.
He needs glasses.
Yeah.
Do you think there are Chicago fans that are like gluing his door shut? They're like, just stay home. Stay home.
Cam Newton, come to Chicago. Anyway, all right, let's start off with...
No.
Stop.
Someone floated.
John?
Let's get Rivers off of the Chargers.
Yeah,
and I was
Phil
like,
Rivers.
I would love Phil Rivers.
Oh, yeah, one year with Rivers before he retires. That would be good for Chicago. All right, let's start out with the one I mentioned here at the top, and that's the Chiefs getting upset by the Texans. Look, this is the second loss in a row at home in Kansas City for the Chiefs. Kind of shocking here. The Texans, though, coming in with a little bit of hubris, a little bit of desire to punch somebody in the mouth, and they certainly played that way against the Chiefs here. Deshaun Watson threw for 280 yards and a touchdown, ran for 2 more touchdowns himself. So if you had Deshaun Watson on your fantasy team, you are doing really well over the last few weeks. Patrick Mahomes did okay, but Carlos Hyde, the former Chief here, he ran for 116 yards for the Texans and a touchdown. As I said, Mahomes did okay with 273 yards. He did, though, 3 touchdowns. But now you look at this thing, Matt, are you now starting to worry about the Chiefs? Tyreek Hill did come back, got a couple touchdowns, but do you think there's something else wrong here with this team that maybe it's finally fallen apart?
Well,
because their defense is...
They can't stop the run.
Right.
So if your team has a moderately good or better running back, he's going to get 100 yards guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Right.
More than likely, he could put up $150 if he's worth his salt. And they can't protect Mahomes right now.
Nope.
So he's hobbling around and he's just getting constant pressure. So it's those two things, the lackluster defense, once again, for the Chiefs. But the assumption was that offense is going to be able to pile on the points. But if Mahomes isn't 100% and doesn't have his full mobility, and he's also, they finally got Tyreek back, but Sammy's Watkins has been out, and they're still kind of juggling the backfield, trying to figure out exactly what they're doing there.
Yeah.
So you assumed once he got his full complement of offensive weapons back, then they would be able to compete again. But if they're just going to let pass rushers get into the backfield whenever in the world they want to, and they can't stop the run on their own, this is going to be an uphill slog the rest of the season.
Carlos Hyde, they traded him to the Texans in the preseason. If Carlos Hyde could get 116 yards a game every game, they wouldn't have traded him. So clearly this is an issue with the Chiefs' defense.
Well, it's been an issue with the Chiefs' defense for, I want to say 8 years now. Every time, they brought in multiple different coordinators. They were giving up 30-plus points a game over 6-game stretches, certain seasons.
Yeah.
Last year, that's the thing is, Mahomes, you are seeing be human because he's never on the field. The defense is just a sieve, and and he can't get any rhythm out there. He's going 3 and outs. His offensive line is not doing a great job protecting him. He doesn't have the weapons. The guys aren't getting open. He still has the arm to chuck it. It's that the guys that he's throwing it to either aren't catching it, they're not fast enough to get past corners, or the offense isn't set up right now to deal with the fact that he has no time at all. That being said, the defense isn't giving him any chance but to have to chuck the ball.
Right.
Like they are constantly behind or getting behind early. And if they don't have a run game and they can't set up any kind of run and put in some like long drives to actually rip some time off the clock, like what Pittsburgh did yesterday, Patrick Mahomes can be the MVP all you want. But if he can't actually perform as an MVP, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
It's a little trouble here, but I think you got to give credit to the Texans as well. They came in ready to play in Kansas City and did it. And sometimes when you beat a team in the early season, you're still 6th, 7th week of the season, it doesn't always lead to a playoff win later on down the road against that same team when the stakes are higher. But this felt a little different than that. This didn't feel like a lucky win. This felt like they came in with a methodical plan and they put it into motion and got the job done.
This was the first week. This was literally the first week where I thought to myself, I think I'm wrong about Deshaun Watson. I think that I've been wrong about him since day one. I think that I thought that he was just another run-first quarterback that couldn't really throw the ball. I didn't think that the offense of the Texans was that good. I didn't think that the defense was as powerful as they kind of looked against the Chiefs. But I really and truly, I think that I'm eating my words here. I put him in a sandwich, put all those words in a sandwich, maybe some Italian bread from Pittsburgh and Mancini's, whatever. But I will eat my words. Deshaun Watson looked like an absolute stud yesterday.
Well, they needed it because they've traded away so many of their assets and draft picks and whatnot to be good this year to make a real push. So if they don't start showing signs like this, coach and GM already know that if this year doesn't work out, then they're out the door. That's why they made those moves. They're short term that sacrifice the long term goals of the team beyond this season and next season. But that offense, they're playing really well. I mean, DeAndre, what do you have? Just an okay game by DeAndre standards. Will Fuller.
Will Fuller was great last week.
If he can
Did
stay
a good
healthy,
job this week,
if he can stay healthy, that's the biggest question with Will Fuller. But perhaps they can keep banging out these quality wins, and they can still take that division. It's them and the Colts.
He looks way more comfortable in the pocket this season than any season out there, and you see. The growth of Deshaun Watson is like remarkable improvements each week and by far each season. Well, Bill O'Brien is a quarterback whisperer. You know what I mean? When he was at Penn State, he took a couple of decent quarterbacks and made them really, really good quarterbacks. And now he's doing the same thing with a super talented Deshaun Watson that just needed the right coach and some weapons to actually feel comfortable in the pocket. And you say it all you want, but the offensive line is giving him just enough time to actually run an offense.
Well, a quietly overlooked team that now is getting everyone's attention with this victory. That's for sure. The Houston Texans. Another team that everybody kind of overlooked because we want to see if they were for real or not. The San Francisco 49ers. Much to a lot of our chat people who are watching along with us live, they are massive fans of the 49ers, crowing about Jimmy G since the start of this show today. And he passed for 243 yards and ran for a touchdown here as they suffocated the Rams because the Rams scored on the first drive, 65 yards, scored a touchdown, didn't score again the rest of the game, 20-7, and they remained unbeaten. San Francisco 49ers unbeaten. This is the promise. This looks like the season we thought we were going to get from Jimmy G and the 49ers 2 years ago when he went over it. Now it seems to be coming into fruition here with this team. McVay doing his, the coach of the 49ers doing his thing, and everyone around.
Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan, sorry. Brady, I don't like to say Shanahan because he ruined Robert Griffin III. But never mind, Mike Shanahan did. But you look at the situation here with the 49ers, Makuga, are you starting to believe in this team? Their defense really is a strong defense.
So this is Jimmy G's second season with San Francisco, right? And he got hurt in week 4 last year? Week 3 or week 4?
It was early in the season. It was early. ACL.
Yeah, it was early. And we hadn't really seen the entire body of work that we had kind of been promised with Jimmy G, but he had flashes of brilliance before he got hurt. Because remember, it was the season that he left in New England, he went and won 4 of 5 with.
Yeah, he closed out the season strong with them. That was 3 seasons ago.
3 seasons ago. Then he gets hurt. So we haven't had the opportunity to see a full Jimmy G until now. That being said, Matt Breida is a stud.
He is.
That dude is a stud. And you take whatever you want from the offense. They are not losing you games, but you know who's winning you games is that defense.
Yeah.
They are stifling. They destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because I was at that game. Anytime we tried to do anything, we had 2 big plays, and that was it. That was the only reason we were even in that game, and the fact that they had like 48 turnovers in the red zone.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being the 49ers. Again, another sandwich full of words. I'm just eating my words because I didn't think they were going to be any good at the beginning of the season.
I don't think anyone did outside of 49er fans.
That's true.
And the Rams looked confused at best yesterday.
I think that's being kind. They looked sad.
Sad.
Yeah.
To watching the game. I mean, what did Goff end up with? At one point, he had 57 yards.
What were his stats?
Don't start him in fantasy. I have him on the scrap pile right now because he gave me 0.76 points.
That was my old
That's
team
ridiculous.
name, the scrap pile. Go ahead, man.
I mean, the interesting thing about San Fran for me is, so that defense flat out shut down the Rams. I mean,
Yeah.
to no end. They made them look pathetic. And you would assume then the offense would be able to do more than it did. Not to say that it wasn't great, but
Yeah.
given how defeated the Rams were, you could see it in their body language on the field. You assumed that was a 45-7 game.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was much closer. The Rams still had a shot late in the game.
They sure did.
So if the offense can amp it up and they slowly, get more and more of a rhythm, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
We all have to start taking them seriously. I hadn't really paid attention for the
neither.
past 2 weeks.
And you have to take into consideration that Todd Gurley wasn't there this week.
Yeah.
But still, he's only really been there 1 week in the season.
Right.
This was last week.
Last week. Other than that, he's been a shell of his former self. And they couldn't establish a run. Jared Goff, that was the thing. You're right, John. They marched down that first drive. I was
Yep.
like, oh,
Certainly.
it's going to be a good game. This could be like either a shootout or some kind of thing. And then I don't know what the case was. Where Jared Goff went in between that first drive and the rest of the game, because he was not hitting receivers.
Do you blame him though? Because he's getting pressure from that
Everywhere.
defensive line. Guys aren't making catching passes that they normally catch, although it wasn't as many drops. But I think the whole offense looked confused.
Well, and I think that's why you got to look at McVay, the situation, right? We talked last year, he was so incredible. Young coordinator coming in, taking over head coach, taking Goff almost to the promised land. That is a Super Bowl victory. Certainly took him to the Super Bowl. And you're like, okay, is he some kind of new incredible young coach? Well, looks like the NFL's figured him out. And also, having seen Goff against Philadelphia last year live in person, with this thought in the back of my mind has been bothering me ever since. The kid looks scared. When pressure's on him, the kid doesn't know what to do. And you go back to those old Hard Knocks with him under the first year with Jeff Fisher. He didn't seem like a smart guy. And this is maybe what is the scary truth about the Rams. That quarterback might be a paper quarterback, a paper good quarterback, in that he can be rattled easily. And although he can throw the ball all over the place when he's got time, if he doesn't, he can't improvise when the pressure's on him. And that should scare everybody in LA who's a Rams fan, because the great ones figure it out. As bad as Mahomes, as the team hasn't been winning, but as Mahomes isn't throwing touchdowns, he's been there throwing the ball around the field, trying to make it happen. Once you get to him, Goff looks scared, and that should worry everybody.
And you should also be worried that Sean McVay isn't. He's got a little bit of a Mike Tomlin disorder in him, in that he doesn't improvise. He doesn't change game scripts.
Yeah.
Once Mike Tomlin has a thing in mind, he sticks to it, and it's an absolute shame, because Sean McVay yesterday, after the first half, seeing what was going on with his offense, at least in the second quarter, she said, okay, we're going to split something up. We're going to go wide. We're going to let Jared air it out a little bit. I mean, if you have confidence in your quarterback, go 5 wide. Get rid of the running back, because they're stopping every run anyway, and make their secondary stop you instead of their line.
Take advantage of the wide receiver weapons that you have.
Correct.
But perhaps they were just like, that secondary is so strong that we don't want to put him in a position where he's going to, Jameis this and throw 5 picks.
Yeah. Is Cody watching?
Yeah, I think his ears just perked up in shame.
He just threw he threw his hat on the ground. Shout out to all these guys, all these people here in the chat. Dr. Pepper, Frank Torres, Roberto Arsenal. Dr. Pecker. My apologies.
Right.
That's more appropriate, I think, for following us. All these people love the 49ers, have been waiting and hassling us for weeks to talk about them as a real team. Well, they're real, that's for sure. But one of the things that Roberto Arsenal pointed out was their weakness is wide receivers. They drop too many balls, and they kind of don't get as open as another trio of talented receivers would be. Can you imagine Jimmy G with the receivers the Rams have with that team? That's a formidable 49ers team.
Question for
I think
you.
overall.
If the investigations go away and things happen, do you see the 49ers being one of the teams that could possibly pick up Antonio Brown?
I don't think he's too toxic this season.
I don't know.
He would be an excellent addition for them.
Jesus. Yeah.
I've already heard a few rumors of maybe he goes here and here.
Mm-hmm.
He's a talented guy. He's also, he's back at college, so he's got his studies to take care of now.
I heard he's pledging a fraternity.
Is he? Perfect.
I would not want him to pledge any. I would absolutely bar him for pledging any fraternity if I was a school president. Yeah. Also, the irony is the Raiders are 3-2. He wanted to get off that team thinking they had no shot. Look at them at 3-2 right now, possibly contending for the
division. They still have no shot. They're not going to win a championship.
They might get, but they might get.
They could sniff a playoff.
Yeah.
They could sniff a playoff.
But win a championship.
Hey, don't you doubt John Gruden. Don't you do it, Matt. Don't you dare doubt the Detroit Lions either. Even on a bye week, they're still undefeated.
No, they play tonight.
Okay. Oh, that's
true. That's true.
They play Green Bay tonight. This will determine your bet as to whether or not.
Come on, Stafford. Let's go.
If they win tonight, then you've got. I might owe you dinner.
Yeah.
Or lunch rather.
Yeah. Let's go.
Good to go. All right, a team that is going. That's the Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson, man, dude, it's hard to believe. You just don't talk about him in the same level as some people do about Mahomes or other players. He's just consistently good almost every year, getting it done for this Seahawks team. He threw 3 touchdowns for them, leading them over the Browns. He also ran for 1. Seattle's defense forced 4 turnovers, and Chris Carson scored on a 1-yard touchdown to make this thing happen. Seahawks, they're 5-1 now, and they're 3-0 on the road for the first time in 39 years. Of course, that year they went 4-12, so you don't want to do that again this time around, but I think they've got a way. I think this team might make some legitimate noise to get to the Super Bowl now as you see them putting it together. And the Browns, this was in Cleveland. The fans, you could just see them streaming out of that stadium, their heads just in their hands, not knowing what happened to this promise of a great season. Nost?
That division with the Seahawks and the Niners.
Yeah, and the Rams, even if they
the
figure
Rams
it out.
Like now are,
and the white-hot Arizona Cardinals.
2 wins that are on the trot. Yeah.
But I mean, between those two teams, like, wow, that's a really good, that's a really good conference. Just the strength of those two individuals. Right now, Russell Wilson, I would imagine, potentially maybe McCaffrey and 1 or 2 other guys are in the MVP discussion. But I got to assume that Wilson is the odds-on favorite as of right now. I turn to you as the betting expert here.
Well, if I was going to put money right now, I would definitely put money on Russell Wilson. Guy hasn't thrown a pick yet.
Yep.
Whereas on the flip side, Baker Mayfield, I think, is leading the league in picks.
Leading picks. He has willed his team listen, the Steelers had a chance to beat him. They didn't. The Browns had a chance to beat him. They didn't. The Rams had a chance to beat him. They didn't.
Yeah, it's been a bunch of close games.
It's been a bunch of close games, but this is the season. I mean, this is one of those seasons where Russell Wilson just has it. He's got a little bit of a magic touch right now, and he's had it for, I don't know, what is this, his 8th year in the league?
Yeah.
His 8th year in the league.
Remember, he just signed that massive contract.
Right? So he's 31, something like that, 32,
I'll take a look while you talk.
30, sorry. But what I'm getting at here is that over the course of his career, I constantly feel like he's overlooked a lot of times as being the
Pacific Northwest doesn't get as much coverage as other teams.
But
he's 30.
30. So there you go. So
wow.
He constantly kind of gets overlooked as this, like, he's not the Aaron Rodgers passer. He doesn't have the speed of some of these quarterbacks with his feet. He doesn't have to throw a lot because of how the offense is run. Whatever excuse you want to keep giving Russell Wilson, the guy keeps proving you wrong. I'm honestly, if I was a general manager of a football team, this is the quintessential quarterback of the NFL. If I was going to leave, I would want a Russell Wilson type. If I could somehow trade for Russell Wilson, if I could convince Seattle to give him up, which they won't.
Right.
But I'm just saying, Russell Wilson is the quarterback to start your team with right now. The guy just knows how to win football games. He has for the last 8 years. Anytime you have that man under center, you have a chance to win. And that's what's made Seattle gone from an absolute joke pretty much year in and year out to a perennial contender.
Yeah.
And it's Russell effing Wilson. Remember who he beat out for that job? They traded and they got paid all that money for him? Matt friggin' Flynn.
Right, Matt Flynn. Right,
was
from
the guy
Packers.
from the Packers.
Yeah.
They were like, this is Aaron Rodgers understudy. He's going to be the greatest thing Seattle's ever seen.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson comes in, all 5'6" of him, and he's just like, hey, I'm probably better than you, a quarterback, but hey, man, you seem like a really good guy. Don't worry, I'm going to steal this job. And then when he got the starting job, the entire city of Philadelphia and all of the NFL was like, what are they going to do with Matt Flynn? Right now, Matt Flynn is selling insurance somewhere in the greater Northwest. And Russell Wilson is still winning games. Like they are clearly right now the best team in the NFC, in my opinion. They're the best team.
Strong statement. You look at the Browns. When does the fire sale start?
Hey, Can you? I don't know why you would, because if you can keep this talent for one more year, just like, all right, it's a bad year. I think 2 of those picks were from receivers bobbling, balls and whatnot. They're not all Baker's fault. You have Odell. You've got Jarvis Landry. Nick Chubb is legitimate as can be at running back. Like, they have weapons galore. Njoku goes out, and then what is it? Seals. What is the other tight end that came in that they have?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
I think it's a hyphenated last name.
Ricky Seals-Jones.
There you go. And he's been really good.
He got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have weapons galore. It's just a matter of turning the ball over. That seems to be slowing down. Baker, maybe you shouldn't be gunslinging, Favre style as much, but I don't fault him for every one of these. But there are some bad throws.
He's got to stop doing those State Farm commercials, though, man.
I love them. Are you kidding me?
They're ridiculous.
They're great. I love them. Give him the commercials. I really, really like Baker Mayfield. I do like him as a person. I think he's a great personality. Obviously, I have trouble rooting for any team in the AFC North, especially the Cleveland Browns, mostly the Baltimore Ravens. But Baker Mayfield, I think, is a super victim, of this new head coach. In Freddie Kitchens. I think that the guy that took over for Hugh Jackson last year, the guy that's now in
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams. He was great. Fantastic.
He knew what to do with
why?
Baker.
He knew exactly what to do with Baker.
Yep.
I think Freddie Kitchens is trying to contain Baker way too much. Let Baker. I know you like the Texas gunslinger.
Kitchens didn't have a head coach experience.
No, he called play. He's never really called plays before.
Right.
Let Baker Mayfield be Baker Mayfield. I think you're trying to contain him too much. I think that Odell Beckham Jr. is in his head. I think Jarvis Landry's in his head. I think the locker room's a little of it. Last year they were the underdogs. This year the overdogs. And I don't.
Yeah, they came in with the hype.
Yes, and I don't want to keep making puns for the dog pound, but I think Baker Mayfield got in his own head a little bit, and instead of these receivers trying to help him, they're actually hurting him. Because they're not actually helping him run the offense.
But this is my point, Josh. Don't do those commercials till you earned it. I think that's dangerous. It starts to put you
your money, dude.
But it puts you in a mentality of like you can do this kind of thing, and then you're out there swinging, and you're not backing up what your commercial lineup supports, right? You're not backing it up like Peyton. For a while, Peyton was doing all those commercials. People thought those were the reasons he couldn't perform in crunch time. It's because he didn't have that extra time on the field, extra time in practice, extra time in the playbook.
That's baloney.
But I'm saying people were saying that.
We've both shot commercials. I don't know if you've shot a commercial.
Yeah, I wasn't
2 days of work.
I wasn't trying to be an NFL quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, they came to him and they said, "Hey, we'll give you, $4 million." Or whatever it was, and you shoot these 3-4 commercials, it's a week and you're done. It's not like it's detracting him for huge stretches of time. He's not on a movie set.
All right.
He's shooting a commercial with his wife.
I throw it out there for conversation. All right, let's move on. We'll see what happens.
Here comes old man Roker.
I'll
tell you what.
It's my job.
Them quarterbacks got to win a Super Bowl before they shoot any commercials, especially for State Farm.
Well, you mentioned Nick Chubb and OBJ. They both got over 100 yards receiving and rushing. So, they're doing their job. It just was those 3 interceptions that kind of doomed them.
You are a victim of Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
Can't
That's a fair
take
point.
the heat. Don't hire Kitchens.
Oh, there it is.
That's
well
what it was.
said. There we go.
So you're done with the dog puns, but you'll do that pun?
Put that on a T-shirt. All right, let's move on to someone who came off the bench, and that is Sam Darnold, who'd been sidelined with that mononucleosis. I don't even know how a grown man gets that. Isn't that the kissing disease?
You're a quarterback of the New York Jets. You're in New York making out with a bunch of hot chicks.
Is that what it is?
Yes, you're getting mono.
All right, that's
Still, though, if anyone's going to get it, it'd be Garoppolo.
Yes.
Right. So the fact that he didn't get it,
Boom.
The only guy that's been outed to have dated a porn star.
That's right. Fair enough.
Speaking of which, you guys see the Bang Bus is now hosting tailgates in Miami.
We're not talking that.
Oh, sorry.
We're not talking about that.
It was on Barstool Sports.
Nope.
Adam Smith. Is that true?
All right.
I mean, they offered the naming rights.
Oh, boy.
So
here we go. Anyway, Sam Darnold, he returned to the Jets here, led them over the Cowboys. This is a massive, massive upset, 24-22. Darnold threw for 338 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 92-yarder to Robbie Anderson, who, by the way, was sitting on the Collider Fantasy Football waiver wire. No one had picked him up. He could have gotten some points on Robbie Anderson there.
Whoa.
They were up 21-9 in the fourth quarter. That was the Jets before the Cowboys decided to make it a game. And Prescott got himself 277 yards. Ezekiel Elliott finished with 105 yards and a touchdown. But this, you got to now start going that the Cowboys, this is a Jason Garrett situation. It ultimately has to be. They didn't high-five him coming off the field. Jerry Jones stood behind Jason and said he was a lot happier the first 3 games, but he said that it is not just Jason. This is across the board. They had a lot of input out there tonight to get into that certain spot.
You didn't pronounce that correctly. I'm staying behind Jason. He's our guy.
Come on, man. It's a glory hole, okay?
Oh my God. All right, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah, listen, when I was in the oil business, okay, we had
Lord.
leaders and we had a glory hole.
I don't know.
He said glory hole like 30 times in one
Did he
press
really?
conference.
Okay.
In one press conference. It was
Oh, okay.
amazing. Okay, listen, I take Jason Garrett aside. I don't care about high fives on the thing. He's been an average coach since they hired him.
Yes.
I honestly thought he was always a stopgap. I thought he was gum in the
Yep.
dam until they could get one of those big name coaches or something like that. But I think it's because Jerry Jones knows he has a little bit more control of the puppet that is Jason Garrett.
Yep.
It comes down to the fact, and I've been saying it since day one, I'm not eating my words on any of this sandwich, Roca.
Okay.
Dak Prescott isn't that good. He's not
Oh.
that good. You had 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You had the game, and you want a quarterback that has the ability to drive you down and win you a football game. I don't care if Amari Cooper is hurt. I don't care if any. You find the receiver and you win the game. You are a starting quarterback deserving, wanting $35 million a year. Earn it against the Jets. The Jets.
Josh brings-
Sorry, I'm yelling.
Josh
He'll
brings
get
up-
his money.
Yeah.
He will.
Josh brings up an interesting point, though, Nost. Cooper was sidelined early in the second quarter, I think it was, with that hip injury. So remember last year, until Cooper showed up, they were heading out of the playoffs. They were not going to make the playoffs. And Cooper
Yeah,
showed up.
but, I mean-
is this the key?
Gallup is made, he's gotten better.
Yeah.
So they have Gallup still there. Zeke looked, good.
Zeke
He was
looked
the
good.
only one on offense.
Yeah.
Witten looks old. It's amazing.
Wow.
Like, he'll just catch balls and fall over. And
Yeah.
you're like, you caught the ball. That's good.
Yeah.
With Dallas, it was that 4th and 2 early.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't understand this play calling.
Yeah.
And then the going for 2 to tie the game. It's like, this seems like a weird play. And the sad fact of the matter is they could still win this division.
Yeah.
So it's wide open. It's a crap fest in that division. So
The Redskins are 2 games out of first.
Yes.
It's terrible.
it
It's
is.
a horrible
It is.
division.
So at the average record that they have, they can still win this. This is a 9-7 division winner.
Yeah.
8-8 potentially.
No doubt.
500. Hell, if everything trends right.
It's a prestige division, though, Matt. It's prestige.
Yeah, a bunch of for the umpteenth year in a row. It's mediocrity from that.
Yeah.
And then every once again, the Giants will climb out, get hot, and then win a Super Bowl.
Right. Let's spin back around. Darnold. Does this mean Darnold is the key here for these Jets? I know obviously he's better than the guy who would have replaced him there while he was out, but this is kind of an interesting. Is this one that will turn the Jets season around and this make him get taken a little more seriously?
Maybe. First game Darnold ever played, he got the W, and Jets fandom was like, here it is. Start of a new
Yeah,
era.
true.
And then he had the rookie troubles that all rookies have. He just came back. He's fresh. Looked great. We'll see if it consistently happens from here on. But as of right now, it's like, great game. I want to see what you do next week.
Yeah. What do you think?
Great spleen on that kid. Hell of a spleen.
Strong.
Strong spleen. It fought back from mono. I know, there was a star soccer player in my high school that got mono. She sat out the first 6 games and then went off, and we won the district championship. Congratulations to the Upper St. Clair 1999 Panthers. Just fantastic girls soccer team. But really and truly, Sam Darnold has these flare-up games where he looks brilliant, right? Then again, we really haven't seen him this year. Okay, so maybe in the offseason when he didn't have mono, he really started to put himself together as a quarterback. I want to see a little bit more body of work than against a Cowboys team that is extremely inconsistent.
Yeah.
They show absolutely no heart on the football field. The Cowboys are literally paper champions. They are all those people that Mickey scheduled for Rocky and Rocky 3, all those paper champs that he was beating in that montage. That's exactly what the Cowboys are.
Are you saying they're a setup?
Yes.
They weren't setups. They was quality fighters, but they weren't killers.
They were setups.
They weren't killers like this guy. I'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
Hey you. Hey woman.
Yeah. So you guys are saying then next season they're going to defeat Darnold's going to defeat communism.
Communism. Yeah.
So China,
comes
look
the
out.
Jets.
China, look out. Darnold's
Look out.
coming for you.
Here comes Sammy Darns, baby.
I love our people in the chats are cracking me up here. People calling him Sammy Mono now. He's Sammy Mono. I don't know if you want that on a shirt anywhere. Robert Barisha, he did that. Let's see. Haskell 420 trying to correct me, saying you can also get mono from sharing utensils, not just kissing. All right. I don't know what you're doing with your
Yeah,
utensils.
I mean, the nickname is the kissing disease.
Right.
You can get mono from the utensils?
I guess so. Depending
I
on
would
what you do
imagine
with
it's
your
any,
utensils.
like passing
saliva.
of bodily fluid. Yeah, the
Got it.
saliva.
Someone calling out Fernandez saying, but Fernandez says Dak is close to Tom Brady. Does this prove that
Yes.
he's not?
It's not.
Okay.
Really?
He compared Mark Fernandez. I hope
did.
you're watching.
I hope he's watching.
He compared. He compared.
Cut it out.
He compared Sam Darnold. Sorry, he compared Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott being the closest thing he's seen to Tom Brady in the league.
Yeah.
Wow, dude, I get prescription glasses, my friend,
Yeah.
because I have seen nothing that indicates that he's Tom Brady. Well, okay.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on to our last two games here. We're running out of time. We're already at 30 minutes of this show.
Sorry, Adam.
The Minnesota Vikings, they dispatched the Eagles here 38-20. This is their second comprehensive victory in a row. This feels like maybe they've kind of righted the ship a little bit. Certainly crushed those Eagles. You want to talk about an inconsistent team. That as well. Cousins threw for four touchdowns. Three of them to Stephon Diggs, who had been complaining that he hadn't been part of the offense more. They certainly made him more part of the offense. He caught 7 balls for 167 yards and those 3 touchdowns. By the way, it's the first time since Randy Moss in 2000 that a Vikings receiver has posted 2 touchdown receptions of 50-plus yards or more in a game. The Vikings also became the first team to hit the 100-yard rushing mark in the last 9 games against the Eagles, who also surrendered 300-plus passing yards. My God. Wentz was 26 of 40 for 306 and 2 touchdowns, but this felt like the Vikings might have figured this thing out here, Matt. Are you scared as a Bears fan?
Look, our division is brutal.
Yeah.
Is brutal. Find me the bad team. There really isn't one.
Yeah.
Everybody can
I like that
compete.
you included my Detroit Lions.
Look, they are. They're going to be a tough game, no matter. It's going to be more than likely a tough game tonight for the Packers.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. Hopefully, I can watch that tonight. The problem, though, is I still think the Packers are the class just because that defense is legit. And the smart thing by Cousins is I just need to throw this ball deeper and watch Diggs literally outrun quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just run, man. Just take off. And
God, he's fast.
Thielen next week potentially could have his 3 touchdown game.
Yep.
Like, they've got the weapons. Dalvin Cook looked dangerous yesterday. And
Yes.
Carson Wentz had a good game. I think it's, their running game, I'm still not exactly sure what they're doing on that end. And, you can only do so much if your defense can't stop Diggs from just getting behind your secondary whenever he wants.
You can have a running back by committee. You can't have a running back by committee of nobodies.
Yes.
And that's the situation going on in Philadelphia there. What do you
And you would think with Philly's O-line that they could block for just about anybody, but they aren't. Again, yes, another NFC East team that is extremely inconsistent. One week they show up.
Yeah.
Right? Like Carson Wentz shows up. The defense shows up. The next week they don't even look like the same football team.
Yeah.
You got to give some credit, though, to the Vikings offense and their game plans week in and week out, because Kirk Cousins some weeks looks absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
And then maybe the game plan they put in or the defense that they see makes Kirk Cousins look like what we thought we were getting with Kirk Cousins when he came into the league.
See, I think it's more so most weeks he looks like Kirk Cousins, and then other weeks he looks like he's not Kirk. Like, oh, who's this guy? Like, all of a sudden,
Right.
I can see why he kept getting $20 million per season.
I'll give you the flip. But I will say this. The Vikings receivers and the Vikings and Dalvin Cook, their weapons around Kirk Cousins save him day in and day out.
Those are fantastic
Adam
weapons.
Thielen catches everything.
Yep.
Those trio it's the best trio in the North.
Oh, for sure.
Those 3 guys are on one team. No other team of the others can match those 3 guys.
And you can put them up against any other trio.
Just about
in the
any
league.
other trio, right?
And give me, basically New Orleans. If we're looking at the NFC, I think New Orleans and
yeah, I like Kamara better than Cook.
yeah.
Thomas, I like him better than
I think I
Diggs
like-
or Thielen, but who's their second to compete with
true.
Thielen or Diggs?
I think
True.
the Rams are the ones that have a trio of receivers that can compete with those receivers.
With the running back with
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think you're right. But I think if I was a Philadelphia fan, I'd be so frustrated because sometimes the Eagles just play down to their competition,
Yep.
and sometimes they just pure don't show up. And yesterday, I think that was that. And you could see the frustration on Carson Wentz's face because he was getting no help because he actually looked like the best person on the field yesterday.
he looked good.
He did. Yeah,
You
just
see
there
him-
was nothing around.
I think it's a great point you make, Josh. You see him kind of sinking internally. Like, what more can I do here? It's a losing cause. I'm playing my heart out.
Totally.
All of us have been on teams where we're playing our hearts out and doing well.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the overall whole isn't matching up to what you're doing. So it's a glory hole. All right, anyway, Kyle Allen.
I was going to say it. You went there, John.
I did.
I'm a big glory hole man.
All right. Well, the Carolina Panthers, they keep on winning without Cam Newton. They did it again. Kyle Allen and Christian McCaffrey leading the way. They beat the Bucks. Cody's terrible Bucks right now. They beat him 37-26. McCaffrey scored two touchdowns. You can argue he is the MVP of the league. And Carolina turned five interceptions by Jameis Winston into 17 points. It's their fourth straight victory since Cam Newton went down. Man, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like at this point, don't you start throwing Cam Newton off the train?
Yes.
Yeah, I would stick with Allen. I mean, Winston, 5 seconds into the game. It was 14:55. First pick from Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is the game I assumed he was going to have last week.
Yep.
He had his fumble. There was a fumble right before that on the same series of plays. They managed to recover. I mean, he fumbled it twice in under like a minute. It was just bad. The fact that the score was still this close is a testament to how good Godwin is, how good Mike Evans is.
Oh yeah.
Like, those
and that
guys-
Tampa Bay defense that isn't
Yeah.
that kept trying to keep them in the game as
Exactly.
well. Yeah.
You turn the ball over and you still manage to hold them to only 37 points.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but McCaffrey I think it's him and Russell right now will be neck and neck. It's tougher for a running back to get that MVP.
Agreed.
But he's easily in the discussion.
Yeah.
And I would stick with Allen.
Trade Cam Newton immediately.
Yeah, I would trade him
If I was the
immediately.
Carolina, I would just put him out on the block and say who's got the best offer, because there are 10 to 12 teams in the NFL that would trade some silliness for Cam Newton.
I don't disagree with you. It's out there.
Depending on the cost, as a Bears fan, I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, there are teams. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars would definitely pick him up. I'm telling you, they would.
I don't know, with over Minshew right now?
Yeah.
Minshew,
He's trailed off the past 2 weeks.
Couple of weeks.
he's
Yeah.
still a rookie quarterback.
It's still
okay?
fair.
Man.
And they got
okay.
Foles under contract as well.
The Bengals.
The Redskins would take him in a heartbeat.
Redskins would take him. The Bengals would take
why
him.
would the Bengals? Because they're spiraling down. So
Yeah.
why invest in a quarterback when maybe we just need to bottom out?
I mean, it's not a bad
Yeah.
point, but stupider things have been done in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
You know
Hold
what I
on to
mean?
Marvin Lewis for 17 years.
They like Jacoby Brissett, but the Colts might make a move for Cam Newton.
They're keeping Jacoby. You
I
got to
don't
find
know.
a team that
Listen,
needs a quarterback.
But there's a lot of teams that may think that Cam Newton is better than what they have, and they would gladly give up something. I'm just throwing. Go ahead.
Let me throw something out there for you
Yeah.
guys to think about. We just saw this. We're going to get to the rest of the NFL here, but the Titans, they benched Mariota for
Yeah.
Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill will be starting next week,
That
likely.
could be an interesting place for
There's
Cam.
a spot.
And you
Yeah.
can
There you go.
trade
Tennessee.
Mariota.
Good
or
call.
even Tannehill. You can trade him
Good
just to get him
call.
out of there. Tannehill's a backup to Kyle Allen is a
Yep.
possibility here.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
think
don't
who else is basically just
Denver?
a belief in quarterback away. Maybe I could see that one.
Maybe, because
Maybe.
Elway loves Flacco
Exactly.
so much. I think it'd be real tough
Yeah,
to
but
break.
Elway
Flacco has like
loves-
2 more years before he just retires out of boredom.
One.
I think their fans have already retired out of play.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, not to. I don't know if Cody's in the back there, but the turnovers are part of a. This is from ESPN. Part of a disturbing pattern for Winston throughout his career. He has 5 games with at least 4 turnovers, while no other player has more than 2 of those games since Winston entered the league in 2015. Winston had 5 turnovers in all, giving him an NFL worst 86 turnovers in the past 5 seasons. Tops for quarterbacks. Tops for quarterbacks. That's mind blowing to
Yeah.
me. But that also means Tampa Bay has given him multiple opportunities to play so many games and start so many games, even with that situation.
The reliever just keeps giving up home runs, and the manager's like, I don't know. I think he's going to get better.
He's got to figure it out.
One of these days.
Listen, Clayton Kershaw is going to pitch a good game in the playoffs one of these days, okay?
That's
So just
not
stay with him. You know what? It's rolling down 3-1.
That's not
Throw him
Kershaw.
in there. Nothing bad could happen in the 7th inning.
That was Dave.
So you're saying your
back.
Steelers wouldn't take Cam?
No.
Okay.
I feel like they believe they're. I mean, they traded a first round pick for a defensive
Make it
player. They
expected.
feel like they're one player away.
Here's what I'll say: if Ben wasn't coming back, I think that would be way
True,
more in play.
true.
Way
'Cause
more in play.
Right now,
you
the
might
best
be
you got
right.
is the
You
Alabama
actually might be right.
state
Yeah.
champ duck collar. Got his first W.
Don't mess
Yeah.
with Duck. Don't mess with Duck.
Well, let's move on to the best of the rest so we can talk about it. Patriots
Jerry?
dispatched the Giants 35-14 on Thursday night. Tom Brady had 2 touchdown runs. He moved ahead of Peyton Manning for second place on the NFL's all-time passing yards list. Daniel Jones said he didn't do much wrong, but they just couldn't get the victory. The Steelers got their victory last night against the Chargers. I was watching this at the Whole Foods there on 3rd Street in Hollywood. They won 23-17 behind Mason Duck Dynasty Hodges. I
No,
feel like
Devlin.
Bob-
Devlin's
Oh,
his
Devlin.
first
Sorry,
name.
Devlin.
It's Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph was the other guy. Sorry,
Yeah.
Devlin Duck Dynasty Hodges. He completed 15 of 20 passes for 132 yards, but James Conner got off the schneid, got a couple of touchdowns. That was good. Teddy Bridgewater led the Saints to another victory over the Jaguars. There's somebody that also is doing it, just like Kyle Allen is. And hey, it's tough to beat the Saints when the Pope tweets about support for the Saints, even by accident. It's tough to beat the Saints. They took care of the Jags there, and Gardner Minshew, who looked all kinds of a rookie quarterback in that game. The Ravens got another win over the Bengals here. Jackson became the first quarterback in the Super Bowl era to pass for at least 200 yards and rush for 150 yards in a single game. He threw for 236
In the regular season.
In the regular season, ran for 152 there. Kyle Murray, hey, maybe my Rookie of the Year prediction is not out of the impossibility just yet. He led the Cardinals over the Falcons for their second win of the season, 34-33. He threw for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh, the Falcons are just finished here. And the Broncos blanked the Titans. My God, could the Broncos be somewhat turning a little bit of a corner here? They stepped all over the Titans, who looked so fantastic against Cleveland in game 1 of this season. They went for 0 points. And Mariota, as we mentioned, 7 sacks, 3 interceptions. He got sat for Tannehill, who didn't do much better here. And the Skins, if you give a damn at all, squeaked by the Dolphins 17-16. Keenum threw for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. And hey, the Redskins remembered that Adrian Peterson is on the team, and he ran for over 100 yards. So there you go. We got the victory, whatever that means. What do you guys want to talk about? You take it.
Bull.
Miami did everything they want to do. They look competitive and they still lost.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
true.
what they want to do. They
Yeah.
want that number 1 overall pick.
Exactly.
I love the Pope hashtagging Saints.
I know, right?
I think the NFL is looking at this going, what can we get the Vatican on board? Continuously tweeting, and then
Totally.
the Saints make a run. If the Saints make the Super Bowl and you get the Vatican on, now you're opening up the game to all kinds of individuals that have never seen it before, paid attention because the Pope is passively falling
Makes
around.
sense.
It does.
Makes sense.
I think Adele is going, oh, how can we keep this Pope thing going?
If he shows up.
Anybody got anybody? Know anybody in the Vatican? We get the Pope on board.
I mean, if the Pope shows up at NFL Countdowns on a stand-up, just talking and looking at the board and giving you his points.
Okay, well, that's never going to happen.
the
Pope's picks.
That would be everything.
Chris Berman here with Pope Francis.
Pope Francis.
What do you think? Cut to a camera, it just happens to be a Vatican City, and they hand him a New Orleans thing, and he's like, hey, and he smiles for a camera.
I
and
see
that's
a
the
lot
most
of bad-
he ever does. Exactly.
Here's my take on
Yeah,
this whole thing.
talk to me.
Please don't interrupt me here, John.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah. Guys, life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur.
Wow.
Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales.
Ooh.
Woo woo. Okay? That's all I got to say. It's the Duck Hodges era. Quack, quack. A world champion. Alabama state champion. Duck collar. I don't even know what that is, but I'll tell you what else he can do. He can play call. He can throw a football when he has to, or he can hand it off as many times as we ask him to. But he went through. Listen, did we have a bunch of defensive turnovers? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That happens in football games. Did we make Phillip Rivers look silly in the first 2.5 quarters? We sure did. And you know what Duck Hodges didn't do? He didn't lose us the football game. And to that, I say, quack, quack.
Fair enough.
Is he going to
Well
start
said.
audibling and like they know, oh, that's a mallard.
Yeah, it's a mallard.
So we got to watch out. Watch the blitz coverage.
I like
That's your duck?
No, it's like,
Yeah, there you go. Well, you just did a chicken.
oh, did I?
that's a chicken.
That's a chicken.
Yeah.
Well, there's also turkeys that are like,
Well done.
Yeah, but
in the woods.
He's a duck collar.
No, the duck
He's a duck
collar.
collar. I don't know if you guys heard in the stands last night.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that brought duck calls
Oh
and they got
my
them
God.
confiscated because you're not allowed to bring noisemakers into NFL games. But it's a
Oh,
pretty
that
funny
sucks.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
fun though. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
We need to change
Oh,
that
gosh. Here's some comments from the fans before we move on. Frank Torres says, Cody, call Colin Kaepernick. I think he still has his 49ers jersey. Let's see. You got to make sure trade Cam to the Titans. Someone was saying
Cam to the Bucks.
He could go to the Bucks, absolutely,
Yeah.
for Jameis. The Bears could afford a couple of draft picks for Cam, so
We gave
to
up
seat him up to
This
surrender
year's
them.
for Mac. Like, what are we talking about? It
Yeah.
really comes down to what
Who
exactly
do you think
they
a better
want.
quarterback is right now? Mitch Trubisky or Cam Newton?
Oh, Cam Newton.
Okay.
It's not even a question.
Yeah, Cam still.
Just 2 years from now.
Yeah. Just for the legs alone.
I don't know. I don't know.
And someone said this week is a trap game because you've got the Chargers. What is it? I'm sorry, I missed. Oh yeah, Chiefs versus Broncos. So who will take that? Do the Chiefs bounce
You know
back?
how hard it is
or
to
do the
shut
Broncos?
out a team?
Yeah.
Like, you know how bad you have to be at offense and how, the Broncos defense
Incompetent.
hasn't exactly been awesome this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Shutting out a team is very difficult in the NFL. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to shut out a
I
team.
don't think this is a Mariota thing. Go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna say they've been consistent. It's more so the offense hasn't been able to put up, or
Yeah.
teams have scored at the last second against them. Like
Yeah.
they've had the victory and it's been ripped from their hands. They've been close, but yeah, to shut out a team of professionals, it's not easy.
hard. Yeah, it's hard.
You know, you start talking about what's his face down there in Miami, who's basically Brian Flores is basically a stopgap. You got to start looking at Mike Vrabel, who's actually trying to win and not
Yeah.
getting the job done.
Yeah.
If I was in Tennessee, if I was the owner of that team, I'd be looking at Mike Vrabel and start looking at other coaches maybe down the road. All right, let's jump into college football here. Oh wait, first, real quick, Packers Lions predictions tonight. Who you got?
Lions covers.
Okay.
It's in Green Bay, so Packers.
Yeah, I got Packers too, but it's going to be a close game. Maybe 28-26. A lot of fun.
You doubt my Lions.
All right, fair enough. All right, oh boy. All right, guys, move on to some college football here. The Oklahoma Sooners, they squeezed by the Texas Longhorns in the Red River Shootout, Red River Rivalry, Red River Showdown, whatever the hell you want to call it. It happened. It was a fantastic game to watch. 9 a.m. in the morning, climbed out of the lovely arms of my girlfriend to watch this game. I enjoyed the hell out of it. CeeDee Lamb had 10 catches for 171 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. Incredible stuff. Jalen Hurts threw for 235 yards and 3 touchdowns, but Texas, although it kept it close, if Jalen doesn't fumble the ball or throw that end zone interception, this is a bigger margin of victory for Oklahoma. They look like the real deal. And ironically, Jalen, who's been to already two college football semifinals, might be taking Oklahoma to the national championship
Well, I mean,
against Bama and Tua. Wouldn't that be fun?
that'd be awesome. First of all, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's what the collective college football world wants, is a Jalen Tua national championship. I don't know if that'll happen. I think that Oklahoma right now is probably the 6th or maybe 7th best team in the country. If I'm looking at it, there was a play where Jalen Hurts put the ball behind his back to avoid a strip sack fumble.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I think he's a fantastic quarterback. I think he might be a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. That's how I have a lot of trouble with that guy's
Might be a better NFL quarterback. That's for damn
That's what
sure.
I'm saying. As
That's
I
for
think he
damn
might
sure.
be a better NFL talent than Tua, especially as a lefty. And because I don't know if I trust many lefty quarterbacks, especially Tua. It's a different way of throwing the football. Anyway, I don't think Texas is that good.
Right.
I think Oklahoma's a much better team. If Oklahoma can really eliminate a lot of those errors, I think, listen, it's a long season. There's still 6 games left for most teams.
Yep.
Oklahoma has a legit shot of taking this thing, but there are some awesome teams out there right now, namely LSU, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson. I mean, those are 5 teams that you hope lose.
Yeah.
Something weird happens like this weekend with Georgia.
Yeah. What do you think, Matt? Anything to say here?
No, I just love that you guys apparently cuddle all throughout the night. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I do.
That's gorgeous. I pushed my wife over to get a little extra
When you first start dating, you snuggle a lot. And then when you get married, sleep becomes way more important than the snuggle. You start snuggle, and then as you want to leave, you just fall on your other sides, and you find your sleep.
That's exactly what we do. We start snuggling, then sleep apart, and then in the morning wake up. She snuggles in for like 30 minutes, and then I roll out of bed. Yeah, that's how it works. I love holding my lady in the bed. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm with you.
Talk about a glory hole. All right, South Carolina.
Jesus, John.
Yeah, she's gonna love that.
Oil.
You
Was
took
that too far?
a nice, beautiful sentiment and just corrupted it.
Unbelievable.
I'm not good with my feelings.
I'll tell you what,
South Carolina.
Now, John, you're disgusting, okay? In Texas, a glory hole's where you find oil. You dig, and then the oil jumps out of the ground like gold.
Oh, I'm getting so much trouble for that. All right. South Carolina scored a massive upset, as Josh referenced here earlier, to Georgia, a team we thought was really ready to turn the corner again. But Georgia, just as is the standard, Georgia blows it in some insane way.
Yep.
They lost 20-17 in double overtime. Israel Makwamu for South Carolina got himself 3 interceptions, including a pick 6 for 53 yards off of Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm had 4 turnovers. They couldn't get the job done here. Parker White's 23-yard field goal is the difference because Blankenship missed wide right on his. This is quite a victory for Will Muschamp and these Gamecocks, man.
A rare miss by Blankenship.
Yep.
Jake Fromm going from what everybody thought was like a number 1 overall pick 2 years ago. Like they were like, this is the guy. Even last year, they loved him. I mean, he was this offense is anemic at best. He looks shaky back there. He has nobody to throw to. His weapons aren't helping him. Georgia is not like mixing up play calls. They are looking so standard out there, and South Carolina stuffed them when they needed to. They made bad turnovers when they needed to, and Georgia did what Georgia does. Georgia always loses a bad game during the regular season. It's a Tennessee. It's a South Carolina. It's always in division, and then they have to beg their way into the playoffs, and then somehow they get in because they're an SEC team. It was like, well, Georgia has a thing, and then they go in the first part of the semifinals and they get the crap kicked out of them. Happens all the time.
It doesn't matter who the coach is.
Doesn't matter who. I will say though, this is a nice recruiting boon for Muschamp and the Gamecocks because this is the biggest victory. This is the biggest upset in the SEC in the last like 30 years as far as pregame spreads goes.
They were favored by 24.5 points.
24.5 points. They were so far out of the I mean, South Carolina, I think, was like the number 70th ranked team in the country.
Yeah.
They're not good.
Nope.
And Georgia got smoked. A 24.5 point is usually for like the early season ones when they're playing like Southeast Louisiana State. Okay? Not an in-conference opponent and then losing in overtime.
They were hyped up and they're ready to go South Carolina. I absolutely agree with you, Josh. Bad look. I was watching the halftime show. All the ESPN prognosticators were saying there's no way this is going to stay the score it is, that Georgia's going to come back and stomp all over South Carolina. It did not happen. Muschamp had his team ready to go for this one, and Georgia, again, craps the bed at the most inopportune moments. All right, let's go on to Florida and LSU. This was an awesome game to watch because LSU, week to week, is making a case for itself to be in this college football playoff and make some legitimate noise. My God, an Oklahoma LSU game is 75-70 or 26-20. What's the problem?
The graphics
Penn
up there.
State, Iowa.
Penn State, Iowa. We jumped into Penn State. That's all right. That's all right. That's Adam.
Well,
That's all right.
the below,
Don't sweat it,
the
Adam.
script below.
Yeah, LSU.
That's fine, man.
Anyway, dispatches Florida. Joe Burrow for LSU threw for 293 yards and 3 touchdowns to lift them over number 7 Florida, 42-28. This was 28-21 Florida in the second half, and then LSU reeled off 3 unanswered touchdowns to take this thing. Thoughts?
This is the first time, I've said on the show before, this is the first time in easily 4 years, 5 years, where the LSU offense is high powered.
Yep.
Right? They've been like a Leonard Fournette running offense a couple years back, and they just don't have the weapons to keep up with an Alabama defense because that's the game. That's what everybody looks forward to in the SEC now is can we beat Alabama? Every other school thinks at the beginning of the year, do we have the weapons? Do we have what it takes to beat Nick Saban in Alabama? And I think for the first time in 6 to 7 years, LSU does have those weapons. I think Joe Burrow is making a case for the Heisman. He's clearly the front runner right now. LSU is putting points on a board. Florida looked like, going into the half, I was like, okay, this is going to be a shootout. And Florida looked like almost the better team in the first half. They kind of did. And then LSU just came out gangbusters second half, and they've done that all season long. LSU has come out in second halves and put their foot on the throats of their opponents and really just taken it to them. This was a fun football game to watch. If you're an LSU fan, and I think today they just jumped into number 2 in the coaches poll.
Because there were some number 1 votes for them.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot wait for LSU Alabama. I mean, that's the marquee game of the season. I think LSU has every right to be in the college football playoff, even if they lose to Alabama and they go 11-1. LSU, here's the thing. I think LSU right now might be the best team in the country because we haven't seen Alabama face anybody.
Yeah. And they will. November 9th, LSU Bama. That's
Correct.
the one.
That's
You
the
know,
one.
Put that on your calendar
Circle it,
right
baby.
now. All right, let's finish up with the graphics we were seeing before. Penn State, Iowa. Penn State, number 10. Penn State defeated number 17, Iowa, 17-12. Look, I don't know what to make of this Penn State team, but they're undefeated and they're ranked number 10. They moved up, obviously, in this latest poll. But on the road, against one of the best defenses in America, Penn State won the turnover battle and they converted on third downs, and they survived. So that's all you can say. Noah Cain ran for a 5-yard touchdown with 5:17 left. That was the difference here. And the Hawkeyes coming in, number 17. They had a strong defense, as I said. So they took care of business on the road. You got to give it up to this team, man.
Fight on State.
Yeah.
Fight on State.
Your Nittany Lions are doing some damage.
Strike your gate and win.
Yeah. What do you think? What's your feeling?
Listen.
Where's the loss going to come if it's going to come?
Ohio State. At Ohio State.
Really? Okay. All right.
We never play well in the horseshoe. Listen, we got Michigan. College game days going to State College this
That's right.
weekend. We've got Michigan. Michigan hungry for a victory against us. They're a good football team, obviously. Jim Harbaugh. Penn State has kind of had Michigan's number the last couple of seasons. This was James Franklin's first win against a ranked opponent on the road as a head coach.
Yeah.
Like that's a terrible stat as a head coach. But hey, you get over the schneid and you get this. I think that 24/7 Penn State thing that HBO did was fantastic. The Florida one was great. They do all those things incredible.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you that this Penn State football team is a family and they are very, very close. And I think that this Sean Clifford stepping into the shoes of Trace McSorley is a big effing deal, and he is showing up week in and week out. But really and truly, Penn State is getting back to what we've always been known for: is our pass rush is suffocating. Iowa had a late touchdown that really was almost like a garbage points touchdown that we kind of were just trying to keep away from the big play. And I hate that in football. Just keep your defensive game plan going and just rush the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing all game. Penn State, though, we never make it easy. I think we beat Michigan. I think we beat Michigan State, but it's going to come down to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we rarely play well in the horseshoe. I think we'll still be undefeated going in there. I really do. I think this Penn State team just keeps gaining momentum, and not only that, they're gaining confidence.
They feel like an underdog, a frisky underdog, and I like the way they play. They're not overhyped at all, so they can play under the radar and do their thing. Let's look at the top 10 real quick before we move on to our last story. We've got to wrap up here. Georgia dropped to number 10th there with their first loss of the season. Florida only dropped 2 slots to 9. That tells you how much they love Florida.
Yeah.
They dropped only 2 spots.
Or how good LSU is.
Yeah,
how good
fair
they think
enough.
LSU
Fair
is.
enough. Notre Dame still hanging around there at 8th at 5-1. Penn State leapfrogged Notre Dame. They're in 7th now at 7-0. Wisconsin, who's making a lot of noise here, 6-0. Josh, I know you have you're a big fan of Wisconsin.
Their defense is just, in their offensive line, they could run the ball every down and win the football game. Because Jonathan Taylor is with that offensive line, he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
He's unstoppable. I don't understand why all these schools like Penn State, Ohio State, we have so many fat people in Pennsylvania.
Oh boy.
We need bigger people on our offensive line. Wisconsin just keep these dairy kids in state. They've been cow-fed and grass-fed since birth to be offensive linemen. That's clearly what they're doing.
Okay,
and it's so good. They're so good.
Okay.
We need those chubby kids to stay chubby and
enough.
make them offensive linemen.
He's not fat shaming, he's fat loving. I love that. That's right. Oklahoma 6-0, ranked number 5. Ohio State's there at 6-0 as well at 4. Clemson at 3. LSU at 2. LSU at 2. 7-2. That's a hell of a jump.
Yep.
And Alabama up there at 1. So this is going to be fun. Now we're turning that corner. We're past the halfway point of the season. Now these games are going to start mattering more and more as we come down to the end.
This is the first year in probably 4 years that we have we don't have a clear and present danger. Alabama's good, but they're beatable.
Yep.
LSU beatable.
Clemson looked beatable against Carolina.
Ohio State is beatable.
All right.
Clemson's beatable. All of these top 8 to top 10 teams all look like they can contend. Wisconsin can beat an SEC team, deserves possibly a playoff. Ohio State the same kind of way. This is, if there's any year that justifies an 8-team playoff, this is the year.
Yeah, and I love that Oregon is hanging just below the top 10.
Yep.
And guess who's undefeated? Boise State, again, hanging out just outside the top 10 as well. All right, let's move on to our last story. That's boxing. Tyson Fury, former heavyweight champion here, he is going to fight in the WWE.
John, this is sports time.
I know.
Why is sports on?
But this is why I'm bringing it up, because I want to hear what you guys think about this, because I don't like this. He's going to fight in the World Wrestling Entertainment at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. By the way, they don't allow any female wrestling in Saudi Arabia, so none of the women can make this trip. Ryan Satin and I have talked about it on Pro Wrestling Sheet many times, how much we don't like this. But he's going to do this ahead of his fight with his rematch with Deontay Wilder next year. I think think this is an incredibly dangerous situation for a guy who could get hurt here, who could have an issue here that could affect his future as a heavyweight champion. Do you think this makes any damn sense at all? And why go do this in Saudi Arabia? Isn't it a bad look?
It's a garbage decision for a garbage activity.
Money.
You think you can't do that with money? Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's the whole reason. WWE.
Saudi Arabia money, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. They got a huge contract.
It's a 10-year contract.
Yeah. From Saudi Arabia,
Yep,
and they
yep.
said, hey, Tyson Fury, we'll give you an obscene amount of money to come do one match because there's no way he's going to continue.
No. He's fighting Braun Strowman.
Yeah. And
Who's big.
His smack talk is so boring.
It is
Who, Braun Strowman?
No,
Tyson Fury.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, that guy's he's a good guy. I can see why they call him a monster.
Yeah.
But I'm the champ.
He put his hands on me. I didn't appreciate it. Yeah,
It was so dumb.
stupid.
Yeah.
But
is.
also, too, I mean, like, listen, if the WWE is going to go to Saudi Arabia, a country that is known far and wide to be very, very, terrible to women, it's just awful. And the NBA is going to come back on words they said about freeing Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
I want nothing to do with either of these things. The NBA ought to be ashamed of themselves, and so the WWE.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
I think you can make a fair point with the WWE. It's all your personal taste on this situation. They signed that contract. They have to take the hits. I think that's fair that they get hits for this thing because it is a bad look. Even the female wrestlers tweet about it when it's happening and want to. They've been pushing to underground, pushing to promote a separate event that's all women to counter the Saudi Arabia event. I'd
rather watch that.
I would too. I would absolutely patronize that over
and
this
I'm not going
thing.
to watch either one because it's fake, but I would much rather watch girls than Tyson Fury
Yep.
and some man named Braun Strowman fight in a ring that's fake.
Yeah.
And if Tyson Fury gets hurt and I no longer get to see that
That's
man
my concern.
box again because he's the most entertaining man
Yep.
the heavyweight division has seen in a long, long time.
Yep.
But it's not like he's going to be coming off the top rope or anything. So the chances of him getting hurt, I don't
What if he lands on his neck weird and he splits in disc?
I mean, Sid Vicious jumped off the second rope.
Yeah,
and
that's
broke his ankle.
Second rope.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be doing any of that. So it's
Okay.
going to be a lot of just grappling in the middle of the ring. And
There
trust
will
me,
be body slams. There will be that kind of stuff. That's what I'm concerned
Stick to
about.
sports
Yeah.
with consequences.
He's going to
my
want to
friends.
show off, and that concerns me too. Because you look, when Brock Lesnar fought Strowman a couple of years ago, Strowman actually hit Lesnar on accident. You can find this, and Lesnar popped him in the head, and Strowman almost got knocked out. Because it was his way of showing him, I can knock you out if I want to.
Exactly.
Don't mess around in this ring.
well,
So-
one's an actor
Yeah.
and one's an actual fighter.
Right.
And they had to remind him what is what.
Real quick, question
Yeah.
across the
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
Yes or no? Does the XFL succeed?
No.
I'm going to say tentatively yes, but there's a very large possibility that it will not. It depends on if they've learned
I
the
asked
lessons.
you a simple question.
All right. Well,
Yes
it
or
can't
no?
be nothing simple about this because it depends on if they learned
Yes or no,
their
John?
lesson.
Yes or no?
What do you mean successful? Define successful.
More than a season.
Yes. So there we go. All right.
I would say successful. Does anybody give a shit?
Yeah.
That's success. Does
We'll see.
anyone care? No.
We'll see, because he's going after a certain area of the country with his promotion.
With below average football.
Possibly. We'll see. All right. Well, there you go. That's our Collider Sports Time live episode for this Monday. Thank you all so much for watching. We've got to wrap up here. We're at the hour mark. Want to thank Josh McCouga. Want to thank Matt Nose. Quack, quack. There it is. Find him at Josh McCouga. Yes. TV Talk.
That's all of it. Collider Live, every single thing.
There you go. And the NFL Deep Dive tomorrow. Matt Nose, Drop a Dime is back on the air.
Yeah, it comes back this Wednesday. We'll do an Eastern Conference preview, but you can follow me at Matt Nost for any of that stuff and join us over there.
What do you think
That's
of Ben
right.
Simmons' new shot? What do you think of it?
He hit a 3.
Listen.
Give him props.
So long as he's shooting,
Yeah.
that's all they're really asking. Even if you miss every one of them when you're
Lonzo
shooting.
ball in front of his face.
shoot. Yeah.
He changes his shooting motion a little bit. Okay.
All right, we got to wrap up.
Sorry.
You can find me at The Rogue Says on Twitter and on Instagram. I am on the first episode, Dropping Dimes, previewing the Eastern Conference with Matt Nose. A lot of fun. But you can also follow us at the Top 10. Listen to our podcast, and we've got an announcement for you coming up soon on the Top 10, so look out for that thing. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks to Adam Smith in the booth, Cody Hall, everybody here at Collider Sports, and we'll talk to you next time on a live edition of Collider Sport Time. All right.